We've all been there when you get a new pair of football boots and they're in perfect condition. But then you wear them for just a few weeks and before you know it, they're completely beat up. I certainly know that feeling, so in this video, we're gonna go over 10 tips for keeping your football boots in good condition. So these tips are gonna be focused around extending the lifespan of your football boots as well as just keeping them clean and odorless. Then hopefully you won't have to buy a new pair every single season. So we're gonna kick things off with some basic tips, starting with number one, don't leave your boots in your bag after you're done playing. And that's because after you're finished playing, your boots are more than likely gonna be pretty sweaty, and if you leave them in your bag, that's gonna be the perfect place for them to trap moisture. Your boots aren't gonna be able to dry properly, and then over time, they're also gonna pick up a bad odor. So after a long training session or a long game, make sure you just take your football boots out of your bag. And that brings us to tip number two, which is leave your boots to dry after you use them. Now this could mean leaving them to dry inside or outside, just make sure it's a shaded area that's away from direct sunlight. And that's because harsh sunlight could cause the materials in your boots to crack over time, especially if you have leather football boots. Some better places to keep your football boots could include your garage if you have one, a closet, or even just the trunk of your car. Ideally, you just want a place where they can ventilate a little bit and allow them to dry over time. But what if you've been playing in your boots for a little while now and they build up a lot of dirt? Well, our third tip is going to be the best way to clean your football boots, which is honestly just playing in the rain or on a wet field. This also happens to be the most fun way to clean your boots as well. Because on top of getting a nice training session in, also all of that built up dirt or stains that are on your boots are going to just wash off. And as an added bonus, this is also going to completely clean the ball you're playing with as well. But if you don't want to play on a wet pitch or it just hasn't rained a while in your area, you can use a more scientific method for number four, which is just using a brush or even an older toothbrush if you have one to clean your football boots by hand. Using a brush like this is going to get out the majority of dirt and grass stains that are still in your boots. But if you have more set-in stains, that brings us to tip number five, which is to use a magic eraser. You can find these for $1 or $2 at most stores, and they're going to be great for getting in more set-in, hard-to-remove stains. Particularly, they're going to be great for getting rid of black marks that you get from playing on artificial grass fields. And if you have white football boots that you want to keep clean, these are going to be a must. Then once you've cleaned your football boots, you're going to need to dry them, and that's going to bring us to our sixth tip. And that's going to be using crumpled up paper, newspaper, or even paper towels to help dry your boots. Now this is an old tip that's been around for generations, but there's a reason it has been around for so long because it works so well. All you need to do is ball up your paper or newspaper and then stuff them into your cleats as tight as you can and then just leave them overnight. Then once it's been about 12 to 24 hours, remove the paper from your boots and they should be much more dry. And if they still feel pretty damp after this first round, you can always take out the wet pieces of paper and then put in new, fresh, dry ones and then just repeat the cycle. This is going to dry your boots so much faster than if you didn't use this method. If you just left your waterlogged boots out without doing this, it could take them 3 or 4 days to dry. But what if even after drying your football boots, you still need to deodorize them? Because let's be honest, after wearing them for multiple games and training sessions on end, they can get pretty gross. Well, thankfully, there are some good tips for that as well. Starting off with tip number 7, you can actually use teabags to help deodorize your football boots. All you need to do is leave 1 or 2 bags in each boot overnight or for a couple of days. And over time, that's really going to help to diminish any smells that are lingering there. But one tip I found to be even better than that is tip number 8, and that's using baking soda. Once your boots are completely dry, all you're going to want to do is pour a thin layer of baking soda just throughout the heel and the toe box area. Baking soda is naturally alkaline, so it can help neutralize any of the acidic odors that are coming out of your boots. Just leave this in your boots for about a day or so and remember to remove it before you put them back on. And I promise the smell is definitely going to be a lot better after you do this. So now you've restored their football boots close to their original condition and you're wondering how you can keep them protected. Well, luckily there are a few things that you can do to keep your football boots looking good and extend their lifespan for a little bit longer. And tip number 9 is going to be using a neutral polish on your leather football boots. Now this stuff is going to be really useful for preventing drying and cracking of your leather boots, and it'll really help extend that lifespan. But if you have synthetic football boots, don't worry, you're still in luck. You can just use our tip number 10, which is sneaker protector. Now this type of shoe spray you can actually find on Amazon for not that much money, and it will work for any kind of football boot. What it's going to do after you spray it on your boots is it's just going to create a really thin barrier to block out water and dirt. It's great for applying when you get new boots or after you've just cleaned them. So hopefully you found some of the tips in this video helpful and you're able to keep your boots cleaner for longer. And if you personally have any other great tips that you use, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you've enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.